Welcome back to another video. I got a STIHL KM110R in the shop today. Gonna get it cleaned up and tore apart and see what's wrong with it. Customer said it won't run. The pull cord broke off on it whenever he was trying to start it, so we put a new pull cord on it, and I'm gonna get it cleaned up and we'll go from there. I got it cleaned up pretty good. Once I get it tore apart, I'll clean it up some more, but we're gonna start off with putting a pull rope on this thing. That way we can tell what it's doing when we try to start it. So we'll get this one pulled off. These have 3 T27 star screws in it. You want to remove all 3 of them. And it'll pop off there, just like that. So move the trimmer out the way and we'll start putting a pull rope in this thing. So I'm gonna get the new one, and I don't have a new pull rope here, so I'm gonna put a one I have laying around. It's still in decent shape, and I already checked with the customer and he said that's alright, and if it breaks I'll put a new one on for him when I get some more in them all out right now. So no, what you want to do to put it on there where this one broke, you don't want to wound it up with the tension on it. You just want to wound it up. I have to do it with both hands, but I'll get it wound up and show you. Alright, once you get it wound up, you want to hold tension on it. A lot of them you put a screwdriver down through the top, but this particular one right, you can't do that. So, but you get the tension on it, and then that little groove, I'm trying to do it one-handed here, that little groove is where the hole is for the pull rope, and you'll can't really see, but you'll look down in the hole where the pull rope goes, and then you'll feed it down through there, and it'll come up right here. Then you'll tie a good knot in it. Then you'll release the tension. I'll get that in there and show you. I have to do it with both hands, so bear with me a minute. Get it fed down in there just like that, and I'm going to tie a knot on there. You'll get you a knot tied in there just like that, and then you'll pull the string down in there. I'm trying to do it one-handed here. You'll pull it down in there just like that, and you'll release it, and it'll wound up. After you get the pull rope in there and you let go of it, and it'll wound it up. Don't let go, I mean not all the way, you'll hold it. And put a new pull rope, it won't have a handle on it. Most of the time, in order to put the handle on it, this one was used, so it already had a handle on it, but for demonstration purposes, you'll already done it, you'll pull the rope out a decent amount, and then tie a little loop in it to hold it. That way this is loose and you ain't gotta worry about it flying in there. And you'll slide your handle on your rope from the top there, and then you pull the rope out and tie a knot like that one's got a good knot in it. Make sure it's good and tight. And then you can, sorry for the camera, but then you can just pull it and it'll release your knot, and it's got good tension on it. So Works good. Now we're gonna get it put back on the trimmer. I'm gonna clean that out a little bit first. I got it looking a little bit better, so we'll get it put back on there. You'll have to work like that and put your 3 bolts back in it. Make sure you get them tightened down. If you're using impact like I am, make sure you don't ever tighten them. Be easy to strip it out. Now that's on there good. It'll turn over, so I'm gonna look into it a little bit and hopefully get it running. We'll see what the fuel tank looks like. Looks pretty clean, really. Looks like a new fuel filter in there. Might have been all what's wrong with his old pull rope, so I'm gonna take a look in there at the air filter. Make sure there ain't no rat or mice done got in there somehow or something. Them little things, they'll get into everything. Especially the mud daubers. Mud daubers, they get into, you wouldn't believe the places they'll get into them. They'll tear up some stuff. Been setting a while, so get it cleaned up and back running. So I see one issue there. It's fuel lines are not on there, so I have to pull the carburetor off, and the vent, it's missing too. So we'll get this pulled off here and put some fuel lines in it, rot it off. I'm sure any fuel line that gets old, they'll rot off, and then you have to replace them. Alright, got the 2 8mm nuts off of it, so we'll pop that off there. Looks like we got another little star bit screw holding it on there, so we'll get that took off. You want to remove that little star screw there. Get it, the air filter housing took off, just like that, and don't want to lose that little clip there. So got that off there now. Got a little gasket, don't want to lose that. So I'm gonna put some new fuel line on there and see what it does, and I'll probably go through the carburetor on this one, double check it, everything's good. So we'll get it pulled off here. You want to remove your throttle linkage there, and usually you won't remove your fuel lines, but since this one's missing, we won't have to worry about that. So the carburetor's off there now, so I'm gonna put some new fuel line on it and clean this up. I'll show you how you do that. I'll clean it up and be back with you. I got it cleaned up halfway decent. I'm we'll get the carburetor cleaned, and then we'll put it back on along some new fuel lines. So we'll get this carburetor tore apart and see how bad it is. You want to start off with removing them 2 screws there on the bottom. There's 4 on the top that hold the prime bubble on and the diaphragm in. I don't have a rebuild kit for this carburetor, and 90% of the time you can remove the bottom part, which there's a screen and some passageways that usually is what causes the little carburetors to run bad. Sometimes the diaphragm goes bad in the top and you have to replace it, but I don't have a rebuild kit for this thing, so I ain't gonna take this off. And the prime bubble, it's still in good shape, so I ain't gotta take that off. But we're gonna take the bottom part of it off, and then that way we can clean out the screen and stuff. Once you remove them screws, this is a 2-piece thing here. I already break it loose because I'm trying to do everything one hand. You got a diaphragm right there too. You want to inspect it, make sure it ain't tore or cracked or anything like that cause it to run bad. Then you got a couple passages there we'll clean out, and then another diaphragm on the back of that plate. And then, sorry for the camera, but I don't know if you can see that or not, but you got a screen right here that usually is full of dirt, and this one looks to be pretty clean. And then there's a passageway there, and there, and there. Then you got one right there. You want to make sure all that's good and clean. You take you some carbon choke or brake cleaner, spray down in there. And when you're spraying them, make sure you don't accidentally blow that screen out, because that'd be pretty bad. Then you won't have no sort of micro filter and nothing, no dirt or nothing out, and you'll ruin a carburetor. So I'm gonna get all this cleaned up, and then I'll go ahead and put it back together. You put it back together the same way it comes apart, so I'll get back with you after I get it all cleaned and put back together. I forgot to mention, you got a little port there for your fuel comes in through there. You'll make sure that's clean so your fuel can get into your carburetor. But well, it's got some dirt back in there. I'm gonna spray it back off, get it put back together. Alright, I got the carburetor cleaned and put back together, and I went ahead and made me some new fuel line for it. And I knew I wouldn't be able to do it one-handed, so I got new fuel line made, and that little vent that was missing that goes on to your air filter housing hooks up right there. I just took a little piece of fuel line and made me a new vent for it. So we're gonna get this put back on here. Okay, so I had the carburetor back on it, hooked up, and was priming it to make sure it was going to work. And I put fuel in there, but it wouldn't prime up. So I took this little grommet out, and it turns out that the fuel line inside the tank has collapsed on itself and cracked. Right there, has a big hole in it. So I'm going to put a new fuel line on there. I hope I have one that big. If not, I'll have to order one. So I'll go ahead and throw a new filter on there too. So I'll see what I got. I got a new one made up with a new fuel filter and fuel line. Fuel line's a little bit smaller than the old one come off, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. So we're going to put it back in here and get it back together. You want to make sure your grommet seat it back down in there good. Okay, I got the carburetor hooked back up there, and it's working good now, so that's good. And we're gonna get the air filter housing cleaned up and put it back on, and make sure we hook our vent back up that I made. Then we'll go from there. Okay, we got the air filter housing cleaned up pretty good, and put our gasket back on, intake gasket back on, throttle cable back on. So we're gonna get this bolted back up, back on there, and then got this other little piece, plastic housing. We're gonna have to get it back on here. Just like that. We're gonna put our two 8mm nuts back on it. Get it bolted back up. You want to make sure you get these good and tight, but not too tight. You don't want to strip them out or break your stud off. So but if they're too loose, they'll suck air and it won't run right. Your carburetor will be loose, and that ain't good. So we'll get these on here and tighten them down. Good and tight like that. And then we got this star bit screw that holds that little cover on there. We gotta get it put back in. I got it all put back together and wouldn't start, and it'd run off ether, so it ain't getting fuel, but it's got good spark. So carburetor, the diaphragms in it's done went bad. I'm going to do a part 2 on it, and I'm going to replace the carburetor. I have to order one. I'm replacing the carburetor besides rebuilding this one, because you can get a carburetor cheaper than what you can get a rebuild kit for this one. So, and it comes with the fuel lines, the correct fuel lines for this thing. So I'll redo pretty much the fuel lines what I already redid. So make sure you stay tuned for a part 2 on this one. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment if you feel like it. Thank you for watching.